I thought to do a couple of different things, just for clarification's sake. So in the Shenrezi practice, in the third Dalai Lama's brief commentary, he puts the practice in a number of sections. Firstly, preliminaries, then yoga with symbols, which is Sengin Aljar in Tibetan, which is that little sadhana we did. And so he writes it in a kind of a verse form as opposed to the way we have it. Yoga without symbols, which is basically Kriya Mahamudra, emptiness meditation. Yoga for between sessions. And here he just simply says, between sessions, recite lots of Om Ahung mantras. And then everything you eat, and all the clothing, and all the shelter, wherever you stay, they all dissolve into the emptiness. And the sky becomes filled with divine ambrosia, divine raiment, and mandala palaces. In other words, you just walk around saying, Om Ahung, Om Ahung, Om Ahung. And all the clothes everyone's wearing become like exotic, celestial clothing. And every food everyone's eating, including oneself, is like divine, celestial food. And all the world is like a Buddha field. And all you have to do is say Om Ahung, Om Ahung, Om Ahung as you walk around. Traditionally we say Om is associated with all things physical. Transforms all, allows one to see all things physical in their natural, ambrosial, and divine nature. And Ah is all things emotional and conceptual, allows you to transform all sounds and all feelings into joyful radiance. And Hung is the nature of the enlightenment quality, the natural enlightenment quality of one's soul or one's spirit, and allows one to rest in the primordial wisdom of bliss and emptiness. When the third Dalai Lama was very old, and the night before his death, someone asked him, I guess you lived a pretty hard life and had a tough go of it because you're always traveling and teaching everywhere. And he replied, no, I just rested my mind in the mother clear light of the moment of sleep. So whatever I did, the implication being whatever he did, he was always in a state of complete restfulness, like the moment before falling asleep. So we say Om Ahung 3 times and it does those transformations. Then the yoga of sleep is how to go to sleep and dream yoga, etc. Then the 6th, the yoga of consciousness transference. So I'll just read, there's just a few verses, so I'll just read them and make a few comments. At the basis of the central energy channel is a mystic drop, reddish white in color. Inside is your own mind in the form of a white drop, white radiance the size of a mustard seed. Pull upwards on the lower energies and wrathfully utter the syllable hic, hic. Like shooting star, the drop suddenly comes to the heart, center of the heart. Then it goes down and you go hic, and you do that many times. And in the heart, in the Avalokiteshvara Powa, in the heart, Avalokiteshvara is resting. And then after doing that some time, comes to the drop to the heart, where it's in the heart of the mandala. Deity Arya Avalokiteshvara, thus your mind becomes in nature inseparably one. Your mind in the form of Avalokiteshvara. So in this way, in the Avalokiteshvara method, you don't shoot all the way up and all the way down like this, as we did, but you go to the heart, and then in the heart, you transform into the Buddha of compassion. Your body becomes a body of wisdom, compassion. the mandala didi. Thus, your mind becomes in nature, your mind in the form of Avalokiteshvara, then moves up the central channel and comes to the Brahma aperture at the crown. Then lights in the form of hook rays emanate from the heart of Amitabha. So up above your head is your guru is Amitabha. And this emanate down from the heart of Buddha Amitabha, who is seated above the crown of your head. These radiate down, strike against your mind as Avalokiteshvara, and pull it upward. It leaves your body via your crown aperture and dissolves into Guru Amitabha's heart. By means of his miraculous power, Amitabha then rises into the sky and flies directly to Sukhavati. Such is a profound yoga for the transference of consciousness, whereby even those of strong negative karma can move into the exalted state of liberation. So that's one variation. Another variation comes from the Naropa system, where one puts 3 syllables. The Naropa system of 6 yogas, one puts the syllable cha, cha, K-S-H-A, but in Sanskrit they can put these sounds together quite easily. Like in English we put together K-N-I-F-E and it still comes out sounding okay. Cha, and in the navel the syllable ah. So red ah, white cha, blue hung. So white, red, and blue in the 3 places. And as one does the hic with the vase breathing, firstly it comes up to the hung. And then it comes up to the cha. And then one does it again, and it comes back to the hung, and comes back down to the ah. So one takes it up in those 3-stepped ways. And the yoga from the Niguma system, if one does it purely the way it's taught by the second Dalai Lama, then one puts the mind in the navel chakra and shoots up to the crown chakra and goes up and down in the manner that we did. Secondly, I wanted just to read a couple of comments from, I had marked both, I was going to say something about the signs of death, just reading from these, how these go, but that's more for kind of cultural interest. When you do the meditation and you do a Sog Tantric ritual, it's called the Tantric feast. And you should do it when the days and nights are kind of equal length. In other words, the best signs come in spring and in autumn. Winter's too chilly and summer too warm and cozy. Spring and autumn are the best times for doing it. Some of the signs are very interesting. Others are kind of mysterious. But the one I like is you stand and you look at your shadow. And you draw a Sanskrit letter at the center of the shadow. And you look at, and you're supposed to do this standing naked. A lot of the tantric rituals suggest doing the practice naked. I think there's something about nakedness and connecting to the world, connecting to the natural world, I think, that has something going for it. And so then you look at the shadow, and you look at the letter in the shadow. And then you do that for 10 or 15 minutes very intensely, not letting your mind wander away. And you have to do this on a day with no clouds in the sky. And you cast your mind up into the sky, your eyes up into the sky, and the shadow you are looking on will just project itself into the shadow. And then various bits of the shadow that look a little bit dilapidated predict the length of duration of threats to your life. And then you either do the longevity and healing yogas, removing obstacles to the lifespan. And if you do those and you still do that same divination and it looks exactly the same, then you go into Powa retreat and quickly do Powa very intensely and get ready for the big show. Something like that. The other thing I wanted to read from was just a little bit from Sechok Ling's Powa commentary. And the first Dalai Lama, in his commentary to Powa, says it's best to apply the training before becoming too weak with illness. In other words, it shouldn't be left to the last moment, or one can be a little bit too weak. Then he discusses the different forms of Powa and some actual aspects of them. And the main thing he mentions is that for success at Powa, it's best if one has a solid training in the ordinary practices like Lamrim and Lojong, combined with bodhicitta and vipassana, Mahamudra. And then with the generation and completion stage yogas, and accomplishes some progress in the Tummo or Chandali practice. So here, with this, his system of the Powa training, inside the channel at the heart, energy is the most subtle energy and consciousness in the form of the mystic drop, white tinged with red, as though made of light, weightless and insubstantial, as though able to be blown away by the slightest breeze. And then in this practice, one does, and many tantric systems have a thing they call wearing the body armor, putting on the body armor. So in the Sechok Ling system of Powa, one visualizes the 5 chakras and puts one of the 5 Buddhas in each of the 5 chakras. And then from the heart, the blue Buddha sends out light. In other words, one's natural Dharmakaya nature, I guess you'd say, or Dharmadhatu nature. And this flows out of your body and coats your body with sort of a filament, a force field of light. And this closes exit from any aperture other than the crown. You leave this little spot here, a little hole in your armor, so to speak. And then from the throat, the red light. And you make a second layer, again leaving open. And then from the crown, a white light fills your body and flows out and makes a white outside. And from your navel chakra, a yellow light. And from your secret chakra, a greenish light. And it makes 5 filaments of protection, or 5 filaments of water sealed or consciousness sealed. So the body has nowhere, the consciousness has a sense of having only one exit. And inside you sort of imagine the same channel. So after the purification by showering of the wisdom nectars above the places for the exit of the vital energies, and at the time of death, consciousness itself are closed off by a coating of light and golden in color. One meditates that because of this golden sheath, consciousness is no longer to leave by any other exit. And then with consciousness in this way, one does a syllable hic, while retaining the downward moving energies. The drop jumps up slightly and then falls back down. So here, one just starts either in the navel or the heart, and as you go, hic, it just sort of like, it's like just when you go on a trampoline before you do your big jump, you sort of go up like this, up like this, up like this, up like this, and then you do the big jump, poing, like this. So in that system of doing, each time the drop shoots up with the sound of he and falls back on the ka. This process is repeated a minimum of 3, 7, or 21 times. And just to take it to the mouth of the channel and not to project it outside of the aperture. Then this is where he says some traditions of training in the yoga of consciousness turns speak of using 2 syllables pe and hic in the manipulation of the drop. Though this is also valid, the principal later masters of the tradition have expressed the opinion that mantra's hic is the best by itself. Yeah, so I wanted to read from those two. So that's basically, I think, the four kind of main powas used in Tibet. The 6 yogas of Naropa from the Vajrayogini Tantra, and the unfailing powa from the Nugoma system and the Amitabha. And they're all quite similar in approach and in technique. So usually when you do tumo, it should be like 2 hours after eating. So we can't like do tumo after dinner very well. But we can still look a little bit at those 12 stages that we went through. And I'll just review them one more time. Start with the 9 round, then the tumo with 9 breaths for number 2. Number 3 is the holding the toe and moving one way, and holding the toe and move the other ways. Oh, one uniqueness in the Nuguma way of doing the 9 round breath is when you go like this. You cast the eyes the opposite way. So if you notice paintings of the Dakinis, often their gaze is cast up towards the sky. So I think the word Dakini is often in Tibetan translated as kadroma, which literally means space travelers. Has the sense of they're associated with the wisdom of emptiness or the wisdom of spaciousness. Keith Dowman, a very dear friend and translator of mine, translates the term as sky dancers, because other words, in Tibetan, kadro just means moving in space. And if you move in space, now tromla drogi, and I'm going to town, it has the sense of walking. But if you say, I'm going to space, it has the sense of levitation and flying. And so often in their images, and paintings and statues, and in the sadhana text describing their gaze, they're looking up like this and up like that. And I think that upward glance has a kind of an energetic effect. In Mahamudra meditation, if you start feeling a little bit agitated and your mind is floating around a lot of different ways, you put your eyes closed down more like that, almost shut. And if you start feeling a little bit sleepy, you cast your gaze up. And if you're feeling you're totally revived, but still your mind is a little on edge, wandering and such, you hold it at an even gaze. How you place the eyes has a kind of an energy effect on the whole body, your sense of radiance and your sense of energy. So in that first stage, there's that comment made to cast the eyes or throw the eyes. In Tibetan, it's called throwing the glance, like that. And the second, the fire mudra with the tumo practice and the vase breathing for 9 breaths. Then Eric's wonderful demonstration of holding the right toe and twisting the spine and doing the tummy exercises both ways. The fourth, hands at the chest and going out and over and then wonk. And the other way, to centralize and generate the energies like that. Then the hooking with the lifting and so forth. And then the kneeling and stretching and going like the dog. And then the standing and shaking. And can be standing, or it can be done in a seating position. I think some traditions also have a kind of a dance movement you can make, and some of the Newar Buddhists do those. A kind of a Dakini dance. Still quite popular in Nepal. Nepal probably has more Dakini temples than any other place on the planet. My dear friend Rinchen Darlo, who was the Dalai Lama's ambassador to Nepal for many years, and was born in Tibet, in Nyelam, where Milarepa did his first 3-year retreat. And he's a modern kind of guy, and not a monastic or anything like that, but is very good Dharma practitioner and an enthusiast. So during his 14 years of being the Dalai Lama's ambassador, he visited every Dakini temple in Nepal, and has just finished writing a book on it, which is wonderful to see when it comes out. And then the Tummo breathing with the Dakini in front, so you breathe in, the sides fill, and the energies come in. And then after the energies are quite strong feeling for that, then the heat rising and the white drops falling. And when that is stabilized, then the white drop descending and the red drop rising. And then resting in the luminous mind. And then move the drop, then the channel with the movements and the hic. Now, with the Niguma system, there's several different ways of doing that. So I wanted to just discuss a couple of these from the printout that you have from the first Dalai Lama's brief commentary to it. So we'll just start at the bottom of page 6. By means of the vase breathing technique, one causes the vital energies that operate the doors of the senses to be withdrawn and directed to the central channel. This must be accomplished in order to effect the transference competently. In other words, if you can do the Kundalini or Chandali yoga properly, and you can bring the energies that drive the 5 sensory organs into the central channel, then your Powa practice will be what's called a qualified Powa practice. Otherwise, qualified means you're a qualified practitioner of directed, you're really in the driver's seat of the practice. Otherwise, you're kind of just a hit and miss kind of situation. You're hoping for the best through the effort. So for that reason, many people do it as a lengthy retreat for a couple of weeks, or a month, or a couple of months. With every kind of retreat, there's 3 ways to do it. One is based on time, and one is based on certain kinds of repetitions of a practice. Like, for instance, if we were to make this Powa as a sadhana, say a 2-hour sadhana, then you would repeat that practice, or engage that practice, I guess. Repeats a little bit of a French word. So engage that practice for a certain number of sessions. So, for instance, people who can't do formal retreat will do, say, 2 sessions a day, morning and evening, for a certain number of sessions, say 108 or something like that. So it's 54 days, like 2 months, something like that. And the other is by sign. So by time, by number of sessions, or by sign. Obviously ours is by time, because it's a weekend retreat from Friday evening to Sunday afternoon. And we could call it by sessions if we wanted to call the sessions by session, because we could also count the number of sessions, and it's by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sessions. And lastly, it's by sign, where certain kinds of physical and also physical signs, dream signs, and other kind of omens. So each tradition has, each tantric practice has its own kind of signs. So so they're called outer, inner, and secret signs, and some traditions discuss them in that way. But when you do by sign, you're never sure when you walk out your door if you're going to be back in 2 hours or 2 years. The second Dalai Lama's grandmother did a retreat on the Chud practice. And until getting a particular sign. And she was in retreat for 44 years. Either she really didn't like her husband, or she wasn't very good at noticing signs. Or it took her a long way to accomplish that. And so by sign, different texts mention different ones, but one is that either a blister appears at the top of the head, or else just the top of one's head starts to itch a little bit. Now, to encourage that blister and the itch, in the Powa retreat, they'd make a kind of a paste, which sort of stimulates this part of the skull, and stimulating this part of the skull helps draw the energies up. So it's a kind of a mixture of particular substances. I have the recipe, but I only sell it at very, very high costs. So it's a very, very, so a lot of, when you do a longer retreat, like a month's Powa, 2 months Powa, that sort of thing, usually the one leading the thing will put a little bit of that paste right on this spot here, and it sort of tickles your head a little bit. And then that draws your attention naturally to the top of the head. And drawing it to the top of the head encourages the energies to rise from the lower chakra to the top. And of course, rising up like that, it opens a channel, and the effects are, the according effects are accomplished. So then the 4 main traditions: the transference of Dharma Dhatu thatness, transference of the Guru's blessing, transference of divinity's great union, and the transference of the unfailing Dakini. So this here I'll explain. Sitting in the Vajra posture, legs crossed, hands placed on the sides. Visualize yourself as Haruka with consort, the central energy channel running straight up your body. The thickness of a wheat straw runs from the Brahma Avchar above to a point 4 fingers below the navel. At the base of this channel is a triangle Dharma Dayo, white outside and red inside, with 2 of its points toward the 2 kidneys, and the 3rd point in the direction of the sexual organ, and the upper point coming forward towards the tummy. So those of you who know the Vajrayogini practice, who've did my retreat on it before, you'll remember that the main purification, rather than do the Vajrasattva purification, you put this 3-dimensional triangle in the center of the head, white in color, with 1 point towards each hair and 1 point here, but it's 3-dimensional. So, and the 3rd one coming down to the root of the tongue. And you put the syllable ah in the center, white syllable ah, toward the top of it. So the triangle in Tantric Buddhism represents the female sexual organ, which is the source of all life, all human life. And we say beings are born in 4 ways: from a womb, through the female sexual organ, or by egg, miraculously, and heat. Heat. Like, a piece of cold rock was flying towards the earth, and it crashed on the earth and warmed up a little bit. And then the sun shined on it, and whatever little DNA was stuck in the middle of the rock warmed up and produced some living thing born from heat. And after being born from heat for a while, becomes a little more sophisticated, and born from egg, and then becomes more sophisticated, and born from a womb through the female passage, birth passage. So this triangle represents this. It's called Dharmadhaya for that reason. And that triangle in Buddhism represents the wisdom of enlightenment, which is considered to be a female quality, because all beings are born from a womb, all Buddhas are born from wisdom, all saints are born from wisdom, something like that. So that triangle is there in our preliminary practice, and if you were to do the 6 yogas of Niguma as part of, say, the 3-year retreat or something like that, you do roughly a month. You just put it there, and you visualize, and your body's like an empty body, and then you just recite the syllable ah. But when they do it, they recite rather than that. They always add a to it, because just saying ah is a little cumbersome. Also, because when they write the ah, they always put a decoration on top of it, and people who misread take a particular piece of that decoration above it to be the letter ma. So basically, you just sit and go and as you do it, this white light at the center of the Dharmadhaya sends out lights, fills the whole universe, and brings back every wisdom and healing quality and uplifting quality. It fills the Dharmadhaya with that light, and it drips out from the bottom and fills your whole body with a white liquid nectar that purifies all negative karma, removes all ghosts. Ghosts are considered quite important in the East. In the West, well, they say we Westerners have a lot of weird things like school shootings and random acts of weird behavior, because we have lost contact with our ability to tame the ghosts in our life. We get taken over by those ghosts. I suppose it's possible. There could be other causes. But anyway, whatever negative karma, well, I think one of the things with purification practices is that a feeling of guilt about negative things in our life. And I think everyone carries some of that. Things we did that we wished we didn't do, and things we wished we would have done at certain times that we didn't, that we wished we had done. And so that sort of white light fills and heals in many ways, and we continue like that. So it's one of the very important 1-month practices at the beginning of the 6 yogas of Niguma. Secondly, when we train in the Tummo, when we first train, we put that same little Dharmadhaya, like sort of shaped like that. We set a little triangle underneath the central channel. And the 2 side channels, rather than doing what they do in the 6 yogas of Naropa, where they come down and enter the central channel, they come down and go into the triangle. And the symbolism there being that it's the force of wisdom which releases the energy into the central channel. As sort of a higher state of consciousness. Wisdom here meaning a higher state of consciousness. And so we often, in the 3-year retreat, you do that practice with the breathing exercise and the various physical exercises for maybe 6 months or more. So by the time you got to the Powa practice, that little triangle would be like your little portable best friend. So here we use it again, bringing it back from the time we practiced the Tumo. White outside and red inside. So the white represents emptiness and male quality, and the red inside, the wisdom of emptiness, which is bliss. Inside the lower aperture of the central is one's own mind in the form of a white letter Ah, by nature radiance. So in the 6 yogas of Naropa, we used a red Ah. Here, if we practice completely in the non-unified, what's called the non-unified tradition. In other words, the way it was first brought to Tibet, we'd put just a white syllable Ah in that triangle. In the unified tradition of the Shengpa, they combine the Avalokiteshvara system of the drop red tinged with white tinged with red, and the little mustard seed kind of radiance inside, white radiance inside, representing our consciousness. It seems extremely light and delicate, as though it could be blown away by the slightest breeze. So this is often said in every Powa commentary, that whatever it is you're visualizing is the thing to throw out of your body. The soul, both as a vehicle of the soul and a rider on that vehicle, something like that. Hold the mind here for some time. So holding it here for some time means before you do the hic, hic, hic practice, you sort of develop a very strong clarity on it. So if you're doing it on retreat, for example, you might practice a shamatha meditation, as it's known in Sanskrit, or shine in Tibetan, which means a mind totally focused on one thing without any sleepiness setting in or any mental wandering arising. In other words, you would just see the channel with a little triangle and the Ah below. And you just put the mind on that Ah and that little triangle. Then when you look up, you see the channel, the central channel directly above it. Something like that. And so if you're going to do that in a meditation session, then say hold your mind on that point for maybe 5 minutes, something along those lines. And then you look up, and above your head, the either white or red Vajrayogini. We're using the white. Appearance is described in the standard manuals. Do the usual steps. So in Tantra, we think that's the yogini. We think that's sort of we're just visualizing. So the visualized being in Sanskrit is called the samaya sattva, or in Tibetan damsik senpa. So it's kind of sort of the symbol or the commitment to the sacred quality. And from the heart of the samaya, visualized samaya sattva, we send out lights, and it brings back all of the enlightened beings, past, present, and future of the 10 directions and 10 million world systems. And they all come in the form of Vajrayoginis and dissolve into her. In other words, it becomes not just like an ordinary Ferrari, but a Ferrari into which all the good qualities of every Ferrari, every manufactured, suddenly also came into it. Something like that. And that force being called in is known as the Yeshe Sampa, or the Jnana Sattva in Sanskrit. That's just to sort of extend it a little bit. Then consider means here, imagine that this visualized Vajrayogini is inseparably one with one's own root guru. And offer the following prayer. So again, Tibetans like to do these sort of chants, and they always sound very heartfelt, beautiful, sort of ideas or requests in the Tibetan world. O Mother Yogini, please guide me to the pure land of the Dakinis, the land of bliss and void. Yidam Vajrayogini, guide me to the Dakini pure land of bliss and void. Holy Guru Vajrayogini, guide me to the Dakini pure land of bliss and void. Buddha Vajrayogini, please guide me to the Dakini pure land of bliss and void. So each of those in Tibetan sounds very poetic. In English, not so much, but I did my best. And then one does a visualization. One now draws in the air from above and below, direction to the syllable ah. In other words, you do the vase breathing. Pressing upon the ah from above and below. One meditates on the ah in this way while holding the ears in the vase technique. Lights in the form of hooks emanate downward from the heart of the Vajrayogini, visualized above one's head. They strike the syllable ah, pull upward on it. Simultaneously, make a movement with the lower spine, causing lower ears to rise. Say the sound of hic. Visualize the white syllable ah enters the central and shoots upward, coming to the Brahma aperture. So here we're doing it with the triangle and the ah, as though we had done our major retreat using the preliminary of the triangle in the brain and the triangle in the sexual region for our tumo. And the ah representing our consciousness. Coming to the Brahma, then bring the ears downward again, visualizing the ah accompanies them downward. So this is the hi, or hi for rising, and k for descending, which we had practiced in the earlier session. Repeat this process as many times as possible. At the conclusion of the practice, a stream of wisdom nectars issues forth from Vajrayogini's heart and dissolves into the syllable ah. In other words, we'll do that hi, ka, blasting up and blasting down. As long as it's possible, it means as long as it's convenient for your retreat practices, something like that. And then, sort of to conclude the practice, stream of wisdom nectars issues forth from Vajrayogini's heart, dissolves into the syllable ah. As before, perform the vase breathing exercise. Repeat the process 7 or 21 times. In other words, you do this whole this invocation 7 or 21 times. It's well known that overly practicing the transference yoga can harm one's lifespan or shorten one's lifespan. Therefore, this second practice of vase breathing together with the meditation upon the flowing nectars is applied as a life extension practice. In other words, just in case you did too many of the hi, ka, and it sort of pushed some of your life energies a little too strongly, you do the wisdom showering nectars, breathing 21 times to extend your lifespan. It's sort of like in Mongolia, when you go out in the countryside, you stop in roadside restaurants, and if they don't look totally healthy, like they look like they're maybe not completely sanitary, when you sit down before your meal, you drink 50 grams of vodka. Then you quickly eat, and anything not right in the vodka, in the food hits the vodka, and it becomes purified. Then when you're finished, you take 100 grams of vodka, which is like a triple shot, I guess, and you knock that down in a single gulp, and anything that the first dash of vodka missed is caught by the second dash of vodka. And many Mongolians do this, traveling in the countryside. It's considered the sure way not to get what in America used to call Montezuma's revenge for people who visited Mexico. Travelers to India call it Delhi belly. Actually, you know, Indians who come to America have as many problems with their tummy as Americans who go to India, because one of the things is actually the minerals that are in the water, your flora and the fauna in your tummy, panic about them. And that's because your flora and fauna think they're in charge. Throw down a couple of hits of vodka like that and they know who's boss. When I used to take groups to Tibet, one of my early trips had a doctor on it. And he requested all the people coming to Tibet with me to take antibiotics for a day before going in to kill all the flora and fauna in their tummies. Because one thing with Tibet is all the water up there is hard water, very mineralized, because it's coming from glaciers and running hundreds of miles before it gets to Lhasa or wherever it's coming from. I mean, the Brahmaputra that goes through Lhasa comes from Mount Kailash, like 3 days drive west of Lhasa. So it's got lots of minerals in it. And a lot of people going in, the flora and your fauna just panic, like, what's all these funny chemicals? Well, before you go in, you just shoot down a couple of antibiotics. It shows those floras and faunas who are in charge. What?
A few drops of iodine in your water would work. That's what we did when we backpacked.
Well, yeah, iodine is good for killing bacteria. Yeah, so when we lived in Dharamsala and all the restaurants in Nepal and most restaurants in India, the water that they wash their vegetables in for salad, they'll put drops of iodine in it, and then they'll soak the vegetables in it for an hour or something like that. And those poor little bacteria, poor things, we should feel compassion for them. Do not know what hit them. Yeah?
Yes, just a clarification on, just to make sure I wanted to make sure I understood the flowering nectars. Did we practice that, go over it, and I just not understand the name correctly?
Okay. Yeah, the idea is after we do the hick for however long we do it, say 20 minutes or something like that, maybe 30 minutes. At the end of the practice, to do this, looking at the Vajrayogini above one's head and sending out lights from our heart, and it brings back all the healing and life-enhancing powers of all the universe, all the great healing forces of the universe. And these come into the yogini, and then the yogini's heart shines with great radiance and releases light, which is very thick, like a peach nectar almost. It's not really a nectar, it's not a liquid, it's a light, healing light that is so thick a light that it looks like a nectar. And some of the texts recommend doing a healing yoga for whatever kind of problem one has. For instance, in the preliminary to the 6 yogas, that the 1 month preliminary practice, when you do this triangle with the white and you go like this for several hours a day, then if you have any kind of particular illness, you can change the color of the to that color. So if your body suffers from cold, you're always feeling cold, and you have and cold penetrates you, and you're not getting proper circulation in your hands and fingers and stuff like that. And a hot day like today, some people walked around saying it was kind of cool. It means they need to use a copper-colored light in their and it sends out light, and it brings back all of the healing energies to heal the heating elements of your body. And it flows out and drips out of the and drips down and fills your whole body. And wherever you have pain from cold, like people who suffer from arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, those kind of cold-related disorders, it completely 100% heals them if done correctly. If done incorrectly, then maybe not such a big benefit. And then there's all kinds of things. So there's a kind of a list of the main problems that were prevalent in that part of the world over the generations, in different colors and for different kind of. I think many of the healing yogas in Tantra believe in color therapy as a very powerful healing force. That when you think red, it sort of makes you warm. You think other colors, it makes you feel other kind of energies, something like that. Yeah, so this is kind of an extension or a repeat of that, if you will, to a certain extent. And so from her heart sends out and brings back those energies. And here they're just life enhancing, so they're sort of just radiant, white with a tinge of red. Is kind of a common statement in Tantra, meaning male and female energies in balance. And they flow down from her and flow into your body and heal and repair any kind of damage. And if any mistakes were done in the practice that could have any detrimental effect, is sort of like, sometimes when you're at the dentist, they'll let the drill will just go a bit in the wrong place and they'll think, oh dang. So they'll run over and dab it with some paper towel or cotton, and they'll grab some crazy glue and smear it on it and go. They do. They used to use like stitching, but then they found crazy glue was like, you don't have to come back, they have the stitches taken out. You just put in the crazy glue and let it dry, and there you go. Yeah, so that's sort of the main bit here, and then he just concludes by making some comments, signs of progress or this and that. Then he just repeats, as was said earlier, when the time comes for actual application. So what's said until now has been for practice on a daily basis or in retreat as a way of opening and clearing the golden passage and the golden aperture. And the actual application means at the time of your death. One should abandon all attachment to possessions and material things, and then do the practice. Meditates and prays to the Vajrayogini above one's head. The visualization proceeds as follows. The energies push up from below. One sounds the letter hic. One's mind in the form of a white letter ah shoots up to the channel and out of the Brahma aperture. Enters Vajrayogini via the passage of her sexual organ, which is red in color. The ah comes to her heart and dissolves into it. Meditate that the mind becomes one with the wisdom of bliss and void of Vajrayogini, inseparable in nature from the root guru. When we meditate in this way, we fulfill all 4 points of the transference practice. In other words, that's the way to wake up and die right.
What is the Dakini Pure Land of Bliss and Void?
I think the idea is something like in the Buddhist world, Mahayana world. When you achieve enlightenment, your mind becomes Dharmakaya, the formless realm of enlightenment. Your thoughts and feelings become Sambhogakaya, a kind of a dimension of joy and radiance. Sambhoga means complete in every way, something like that. And then your physical world becomes Nirmanakaya, emanation body of a Buddha, able to emanate in all ways as required. The Kusuntok Yunden Trinle. So these become your kind of Yunden Trinle Munlam, so your realizations sort of manifest as auspicious omens, and Trinle, your Buddha karma, means you got a finger in every pie in the universe. Basically, all those beings on your way to enlightenment over however many lifetimes, so if you achieve enlightenment tomorrow, looking back over your last 2,000-3,000 lifetimes, 10,000 lifetimes, you've got those kind of positive enlightenment karmic connections with all those beings. So then emanating in ways that can be a direct benefit, and because everyone has been your mother in some previous life, then also emanating in ways to benefit all those beings who have been your mother. And the closer the connection, then the more easy it is for that emanation to be perceivable by those beings. The meaning is something like that. But in general, then your munlam, your auspicious thoughts, wishes, and prayers manifest as pockets of oases, paradisical oases scattered throughout the universe. Sort of like, I don't know, Austin in Texas. Or Bloomington in Indiana. I don't know what in Illinois. Ottawa.
There's a nice waterfall in Ottawa.
And there's a starving rock if you're ever in the mood to go starving. Yeah, so manifest like that. So then the reference, I think some of the early Buddha fields that became popular were a little bit on the monkish side. Like Amitabha's Pure Land, you know, you're born in a lotus, and you hear lots of tweeting of birds and those kind of things. Lots of pretty flowers.
Which one is that?
Sukhavati.
Sukhavati. What about that stuff?
So the Dakini Pure Land of Bliss and Void is, as Stephanie just mentioned, known as Akanista. Akanista, Sanskrit, literally means beneath nothing. In other words, the best of the crop. If you want to go to an oasis, it's sort of like the Paris of oases, or perhaps the Las Vegas would be closer. Bliss and void means a kind of a no-holds-barred kind of situation where all things temporal and spiritual are in perfect harmony. No need for so many lotuses and tweeting birds. And so in Tibet, the 3 of the 16 Buddhist Dakini Tantras, 16 or 18, I can't remember, 3 were very popular in Tibet. And so their lands are known as the Pure Land of Bliss and Void. Really means the pure land where the wisdom of bliss and void, born together bliss and void, has that kind of meaning. And so it's less monkish and more Mahasiddha-ish in terms of the kind of descriptions of it.
You're talking about, which one are you talking about? Akanista now?
Oh, I cannot clarify. Having, as it says in the Rubaiyat of Omer Khayyam, the pen writes and having writ moves on. Akanista. Seeing as how you're going to threaten me. Akanista. Never take a threat from an Italian gangster lightly.
And are my Dharma teachers members of my Sangha?
Well, your Dharma teachers are Sangha, certainly, because they're... So we say the Guru's mind is Buddha, the Guru's speech is Dharma, and the Guru's body is Sangha. Because the Guru's mind carries the wisdom of enlightenment, the Guru's speech teaches the ways to enlightenment, and because the Guru is in the world in a bodily form and we can access, therefore is also Sangha. So that kind of expression is said. But, words are only as meaningful as the way they are used conventionally, and we don't see definitions so much of that kind of an issue in Asia. I've never seen a written thing on it, but you'd have to say yes, because it's part of you'd have to say Buddha is a Buddha, Buddha's speech is Dharma, and Buddha's body is Sangha, something like that. Sangha, literally Sangha in Tibetan translation, Gendun, just means spiritual seeker or spiritual aspirant. It doesn't mean they haven't achieved their own spiritual goals, and in other words, haven't achieved enlightenment. But it means that's one of their qualities, is their spiritual presence, their spiritual focus, you could say. Now, that same issue comes up with Buddha and the Bodhisattvas. Sometimes in Chinese literature, they speak of Buddhas as one thing and Bodhisattvas as another. But in Tibetan debate, a Buddha is in fact just an 11th state level Bodhisattva. But a 10th level Bodhisattva is not a Buddha. So we say in Dharmakirti, the great, and Dignaga, the two great debate masters or logicians of ancient Buddhist India, it's a three-pointed relationship. But so the way three-pointed relationship works is like a circle with a little circle in it. There's something which is one and not the other, something which is both, and something which is neither. So it's a three-pointed relationship. Buddha is also a bodhisattva. There is no Buddha who is not a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva could be a Buddha, but there are bodhisattvas who are not Buddhas. So anyway, and then something which is neither. So what is something which is neither?
Me.
You may be a bodhisattva. Have you taken the bodhisattva vow?
Yeah.
So you're a bodhisattva. You may be a very humble bodhisattva, proud of not being a real bodhisattva. So when we talk about the bodhisattvas, they talk about three levels, right? Basically. From the time you take the bodhisattva vow, you are an entering bodhisattva. When your love and compassion grows to the point that you like others, even unpleasant beings, like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton, as much as you like yourself, then you're an engaged bodhisattva. Then you hit the Arya Bodhisattva levels, and the 10 bhumis, as they're called, and you're an Arya Bodhisattva. You become a Buddha, and you're a Buddha who is also a Bodhisattva. So I guess you could say those 4 levels. So I forgot to bring my love monitor machine with me, where we could hook you up and see your bodhicitta levels. But you can actually, if you're good at pulse reading, you can read someone's pulse and read their bodhicitta levels, how high they are on the bodhisattva stages. So when I first met the Dalai Lama, I said, when I went to shake his hand, but I took it with 2 hands and read like this. The bodyguards looked at me quizzically, what's he doing? And I'm going, yeah.
replenishing kind of practice to do in case you overdid it? Was that the wisdom showering nectars?
Yes.
How can you just recap that just a bit?
Yes, at the end of the practice, you visualize the yogini in your head very strongly, and you send out lights from the syllable at her heart, or just from her heart chakra, the radiance at her heart. You could do just in that way, and fill the universe and brings back all blessing powers from all enlightened beings, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and healing deities and Dharma protectors and kind of all of the different forces of goodness. And it enters, and her heart becomes very bright and shines radiantly, and the radiance shines through her body down into your body, coming through your crown aperture and fills your body.
She's in your head, though, not above.
She's up here.
Oh, she's up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Above.
And she shines, and it just sort of zooms down like a laser surgery.
Right. It's back.
But like a little sort of, you could say, like a stream of radiant light that fills your body and totally removes any kind of negativity and reattunes all the elements and totally refreshes and uplifts. So I think we'll stop there from questions, and we'll go to this, and we'll just do a little bit of the Om Mani Padme Hum mantra at the end from the Shenrezi Sadhana, if you don't mind. Is that okay? And we'll do it with the way of Tongten Gyalpo's teaching. Sing it Chodan Sokishonam Laj and Jabada Dani Kazachi, Dagadian, Yabasanagi, Rola Penda Sangadu Pacho, Sang it Chodan Sokishonam Laj and Jabada Dani Kazachi, Dagadian, Yabasanagi, Rola Penda Sangadu Pacho, Rola Penda Sangadu Pacho, Sanjandam Jadewat, and Dewa Gudun Tamakaji, Sanjandam Jadunga, Dunga Giwata, Sanjandam Jadunga Mewa Dewata Mitro, Sanjandam Janyaran Jaranila Nepetonyola, Neper Church, above my head's a white lotus, sun, moon, silver He standing out. The He transformed into Shenrezi, white, radiating, 5-colored light, smiling, warm, carrying eyes with 4 arms, 2 joints, 2 whole crystal mala, white lotus, arrayed with silks and jewels, with a deerskin over the shoulder, head covered with Amitabha, 2 crowned with Amitabha, 2 feet in Vajra Asana, stainless moon supporting his back, essence of inspirational forces. I call to you, Lama Shenrezi, call to you, Yidam Shenrezi, call to you, Jetson Shenrezi, call to Protector Shenrezi, I call to Lord of Love Shenrezi, O great Buddha Shenrezi, hold us in your compassion. The beings who have been wandering, repeating the samsara, continue to endure unbearable torments. They can turn to no one but you. Okay, then we're going to do 7 times Om Mani Padme, 21 times Om Mani Padme Hum. And let's do it from the lowest to the highest. So from the Hri at the heart of Shenrezi, black lights or dark lights, dark blue lights. Often in Tibetan it says Ting Nak, means blue-black. Lights shine forth and from Hri and come down into my body by my crown aperture. Completely heal me of all of my anger and aggression and irritation and irritability and fears. Flow out to my pores of my body, cover the earth and heal violence and anger and agitation and aggression and fear wherever it is. Then flow throughout the realms to the realms, like the hells where anger and violence are the norm. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Mani Padme Hum, Om 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 Mani Padme, Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Hri, Hri, Hri. Then once more lights go out, this time red in color, and flow down and flow flow into my body via my crown aperture, completely fill my body. All grasping and craving and attachments and desires. Completely, and all of the negative karma generated by those are completely purified and washed away, and my mind is set in a state of inner clarity, joy, and liberation. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme hum. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum. And the lights flow out from my pores and fill the whole world and all beings in the world who suffer from this greed and neediness and craving and the feeling of always being unhappy because of needing one more thing, as well as all beings suffering from karmic neediness, in other words, poverty and so on, deprivation, starvation, then into the other realms and into the ghost realms where that is the sort of the norm of the day. Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum. Hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme. Padme hum, Om mani 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 padme hum, Hri. And thirdly, gold, light blue lights flow out, turquoise blue. Flow out from the Hri and fell down and come into my body and completely fill my body. In any kind of unconscious living without mindfulness, and all of the negative karma created by living without mindfulness. And then flows out from my body and touches all the world and increases conscious living in all beings on the planet and throughout other world systems. And then flows beyond that to the animal realm, and even the skunks start being more mindful. Om mani padme hum, 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 mani padme hum, Om 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 mani padme mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme hum, Om mani padme. Om mani padme hum, Hri, 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 Hri. Then golden lights flow out and flow into my body, descending into my body via my crown aperture and completely fill my body. And then completely cure me of narcissism and self-centeredness, as well as all negative karma created by that instinct, and flow out through my pores and into the White House. And if anyone is visiting the Donald who suffers from narcissism and self-centeredness, they too are cured beyond their all beings and throughout the universe. Om mani padme hum, 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 Om mani padme. Om mani padme hum, 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 Hri, Hri, Hri. Then green lights flow out from Shenrazi's heart and come into my body and and descend like a water like water being poured one vase into another, descend through my crown aperture and fill my body. And any jealousy and envy that's there, as well as any negative activity created, the karmic stains or karmic residue left by acts based on that instinct, and flow out are all transformed and purified, and the light flows out from my pores and fills the world. All beings in the world suffering from jealousy, the sicknesses of jealousy and envy, and beyond that flowing into the asura world and curing all of the asuras. Om mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pame hungo mane. Om mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pama hungo. Om mane pama hungo 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 mane pama. Om mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pama hungo mane pama. Om mane pama hungo mane pama hungo. Om mane pama hungo. Om mane pama hung re re re. Then lights go out once more, and white lights, and they descend into my body and completely fill my body, and any spiritual distortions created by apathy and pride and so forth, and the sense self-complacence, a completely healed flow, as well as any negative karmic residue left from activities based on such klesha, flow through my pores and fill the whole world. And all beings on the face of this world who suffer in any way from that affliction of pride and apathy and self-complacence, the kleshas are washed away, and they are restored to states of natural clarity and joy. Then flows into the Deva realms with the Kam Deva and the Rupa Deva and the Arupa Deva, the three realms of the Devas, and completely purifies them. Om mane pame hungo 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 mane pame hungo. Om mane pame hungo 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 mane pame. Om mane pame hungo mane pame hum re. So from meditating one pointed like this, Arya Shenrazi's form radiates lights cleansing karmic appearances and mind. The outer world becomes Sukhavati, a paradise of bliss. The body, speech, and mind of beings become Shenrazi, the union of appearance, sound, and mind with voidness. So we just sort of have this sense of our body being completely saturated with wisdom, compassion, and the world itself transformed into a land in which all appearances are compassion, wisdom, appearances, all sound are the sounds of the six-syllable mantra. In other words, the sound of joy, enlightenment, joy, bliss and joy. And mind itself has the quality of Buddha mind. The mind of all beings has the quality of Buddha mind. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. The world dissolves into light, into the living beings dissolve into me, and I dissolve from head down, feet up, into the crystal radiance, into the Hri at my heart, and it dissolves from base up into infinite emptiness, infinite radiance. And we just rest in that radiance for 5 minutes. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Out of the emptiness, my body and the bodies of all others appears the forms of the Buddha of compassion. All sounds are the songs of the 6 syllable mantras, our thoughts of the vast expanse of wisdom. Then we dedicate the merit by any good energy comes through our practice. May each of us accomplish the stage of the Buddha of compassion, and then may we quickly benefit all living beings. Gawadi Nyardada, Shenrazi one, Trubgyurne, Drawachikyum Malapa, Te Sala Guparsho, Shenjo Samchok, Rinpoche, Makyapana, Kigurchi, Kyepan Yampa, Mepa Yong, Kone, Kondo, Pawarsho.